Saturday afternoon shootout is on the air. Warning, although the information expressed on this show is thoroughly researched by Jerry and his staff, it is not the law. Check with your local and state law enforcement officials before you do anything Jerry or his guests say. Just because Jerry says it on the internet doesn't mean it's going to work in court. Here's your host.
Hello, welcome to Saturday Afternoon Shootout. I'm Jerry.
I'm John. Welcome to the show, everybody.
And Brian is, he's playing hooky today. He's up north with his family.
Nice trip up north, yeah.
Yep.
I'm jealous. He's probably fishing right now.
Yeah.
Got his pole in the water.
Yeah. Ain't fair.
And we're here, but that's okay. Someone's got to do it. The show must go on.
Yep. Have a good time here, Brian. I hope you catch a big one and don't get too drunk.
Drink a beer for us.
Or two
or
or three.
scotch.
Not for me.
Well, for me anyway.
Yeah, scotch maybe.
Yeah.
Whiskey and water. My earphones aren't. Sounds like I got a dead side.
It happens looking for that.
Oh, you telling me I got a dead head?
You good? You better? Can you hear anything? You got a
Might just be my ear.
your hearing is going.
Yeah,
Not only did you break 3 toes, now you only have 1 ear. I told you to just stay in bed. Don't even bother coming out of the house.
I do. Well, in fact, you can't see, but I got my boot off right now. I got 3 busted toes, and they hurt like hell. It just. And I got trigger finger problems. See.
Some weeks you just shouldn't even. You need to get one of those contraptions on your wrist, so you just pull the string and it extends your finger.
Well, I have one, but a Derringer comes out with it. Not really. Just kidding.
So what's going on with coming events?
Some
stuff coming up here.
I ain't doing nothing.
No, well, like I said, you need to just stay in bed, not even get out.
Oh, this thing is just something ain't right. I feel out of position. I know I'm usually on the bottom.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks to our host, Flint Talk Radio. You guys stop by and watch us, but there's many other informative shows on here. They've got a really good choice, variants of different topics, and our very kind friend and their producer, John. Say hello, John. Come on. Hello.
Hey, John.
Too many Johns in here.
Yeah, check out the website. They got some good shows on there, and you can catch old shows of ours as well.
Yeah, catch up on some of Brian's shenanigans that we don't have to put up with today.
Yeah, somebody else is going to be able to talk. That's good.
Yeah. Also, we ask you to support Dan Reagan. He makes just about anything and everything out of leather. He has a booth at the Flint Flea Market on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can see him at dreaganhd@yahoo.com or give him a call at 810-965-6665. Basically, if you need something made out of leather, Dan can do it, and he does it. Excellent work. No one else will ever make anything for me but him. Also, we have Brian is hosting a picnic, which is a charity benefit, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember the name of the organization. It's something to do with the veterans. I don't remember what it is. I apologize for that, but that's at Hawk Island, Ingham County Park, at 1700 East Kavanaugh. That's in Lansing, and that is on Saturday, September 11th, a week from today. And it starts at 1 o'clock until whenever. They're going to have items to be auctioned off. All proceeds go to the charity. And it can be a nice family event, so we ask you to bring the whole family, friends, anyone you can. Go out and have a good time for the day and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and you can get more information on that event at opencarry.org in the Michigan Forum there. There's a thread that Brian started where you can get more information about the organization that the picnic is going to benefit, as well as times.
Yep, and also on 9/11, we have an open carry seminar, which is your project.
Yep.
So I will let you give the info on that.
Yep, I started johnroshek.com, incorporated, and basically it's just an online blog, another way to educate and promote not just open carry, but all Second Amendment rights and basically just all freedoms as American citizens. So we're going to be talking about a wide range of subjects, but the seminars are going to be basically just focused on 2A rights. You can catch that September 11th from 3 to 5 at the Gander Mountain in Flint. And there's another one the week after, September 18th at the Gander Mountain in Novi. And that is going to be from 6 to 7:30. So come on out. It's free. Bring a friend and learn a little bit more about your Second Amendment rights.
Or friends.
Friends, family. Bring anybody you'd like, neighbor.
And I'll even be there.
And Jerry will be there to help out. Yep, he's been gracious to donate his time. And
I'm retared. I can donate all the time I want.
That's good because I'm not paying you.
I get twice as much as what Brian gets.
Yeah. Don't tell him I'm doubling your salary.
No, but if he better be listening. If he doesn't, I'm gonna cancel his retirement fund, which is 3 times of what you're giving him.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and to all the ladies that watch the show, the eye candy will be back for the next show. By the way, I'm assured that Brian will be here. So,
he says he is.
That's why the only reason chicks watch this show, or I'm sorry, women watch this show, right?
Yeah, just to see Brian and see what kind of shenanigans he's gonna pull next.
I can't blame him.
What?
You can't call them chicks anymore. I like it.
Yeah. They prefer female, women. Hot babes.
Dames. Can you use dames? Is
Your
that
mic
even
isn't
acceptable anymore?
Your mic
Can't hear you, John.
Every time I turn it up, it
there you
squawks. I said women with a Y. How they spell that now? WOMYN and stuff. MEN.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's this world coming to? I am so sick of politically correct.
You know what I think of a lot when these times when you have to watch what you say come up. The theme song to All in the Family plays in my head.
Yep.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. And men were men, women were women.
Yeah,
that.
And gay meant happy times.
I'm not even that old, but where did the old days go?
They are long gone and not to return.
Yeah.
And like I say, that what really cracks me up is to even put the term politically correct. There's no such thing as an honest politician, so how can it be politically correct when they're all pretty much, they're as crooked as they get. Yeah. And it's just, they should say socially acceptable.
Yeah. Well, it all comes down to just not wanting to lose votes and what nowadays.
Of course.
But look, speaking of that actually is kind of a good segue. I wanted to tell you guys about something that I got off Amazon.com, and it is a little pocket constitution of the United States here. And this was $1.98 off Amazon. I got this, and I strongly urge everyone to have this. There's a couple other ones out there. I'm going to warn you now. They say pocket constitutions. And the opening page in the documents, I did not purchase it, but I read some of the online reviews. And I can't remember the exact quote, but I do remember a couple lines. Inside, in the first page, inside the opening cover, there is a disclaimer by the publishers that say, before you let your children read this, you should discuss with them the policies and the times of those days when this was written and how they no longer apply to society today before you enjoy this classic work.
What a crock.
You're talking about the Constitution. And so many of the reviews said, do not buy. We made the mistake of buying this one. Do not buy this one. I can assure you, this little one right here does not have that disclaimer. It is a true reflection of the Constitution, and I carry this wherever I go with me now. This is America's owner's manual. I encourage everybody. A lot of us, we like to talk about freedoms and we like to talk about, our rights and stand up for it, but many people, I bet, have never even read the Constitution. So read this, know your rights, know conservatism, and it's for $2. It's for $2. You can't beat that.
And I haven't looked at it, but I'm going to assume that it is some of it, at least in general layman terms.
Basically, well, it's taken word for word from the Constitution. Also, not only in the Constitution, it also has obviously covers your the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence. So it's kind of your all-in-one guide to America's founding fathers. So it has a nice little index in there, and I'll order a couple more. I'll bring you and Brian one for the next show.
No, you better bring me two.
Okay, I'll bring you two. But anyway, it's a neat little thing I wanted to bring up. And encourage everybody to go out and read it, even if you just read it online. Know your Constitution. Know your owner's manual.
And if you're in Michigan, read the Michigan Constitution.
Read your Michigan. Yep. On my computer, I have saved in my bookmarks the Constitution of the United States and my Michigan Constitution as well.
So do I.
Yep.
In Article 1, Section 6. What's that say? Michigan Constitution.
Right to bear arms.
There you go.
Right to bear
Many
arms.
people I talk to don't realize that Michigan is one of the few states. Not all states have in their state constitution the right to keep and bear arms, as our national constitution does.
Right.
Michigan is one of those, Article 1, Section 6, that has and supports the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. So you are also covered under the state constitution. So keep that in mind, when you start getting questions about whether or not you have the right to do something.
Yeah.
It's not a privilege, it's a right.
I started taking and I just to kind of go off on a little bit of a side tangent here, but now that I have this, I refer to it all the time, and now I'm watching the news. I'm watching, I'm listening to what some of these politicians want to do, and especially with your Second Amendment rights and even your First Amendment rights, and they're trying to silence you. And current legislations, I open this thing up and I look to it, and I'm looking, and I can't find anywhere in here where they're allowed to do half the stuff they're doing. So it's not a question of whether I agree with their policies or disagree with their policies. I can't find where they have the power to do it. I can't find where they're allowed to do it, and that's become more of an issue to me. Show me in here where you're allowed to enact half the stuff that we have out there today.
Because they legislate it to themselves.
Yeah.
The same, the other one that has come up because of Governor Jan Brewer there in Arizona with the immigration laws.
Right.
They want to now open the 14th Amendment in the Constitution to abate the automatic citizenship by children born of illegal aliens.
Right.
Now, the drawback to that, as a couple of the legislators have said, is not the fact that we don't agree with it. It's the fact that once you open this up
I agree. Yeah.
for amending, what else are you going to try and do to it?
Well, what's next.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2 is next. Yeah, that's the thing. On the surface, it seems like, oh, that's a great idea. I agree with it. Why not? Here's the thing, people. Understand, you're opening up Pandora's box. You say, okay, we'll amend this. What's to stop them from wanting to amend anything else? So it's a path that you need to be very, very careful with.
Well, even just opening just the 14th. I mean, that has to do, now you're playing with your citizenship. It's not only that section of the 14th. Once it's opened up, they can revamp the whole thing.
Right.
And that's where they're really getting the let's say reservations about opening it up, is the concerns that the people have for what do you exactly want to change it to. So that's really where all the debate's coming in before even this gets started to, I don't know if they're going to put it in the form of a bill or how it would exactly have to go, but that's their reservations. If you want to just change that one line, what guarantee do we have that that's the only part you're going to mess with? And again, there's no way.
There is no way. And look, there's an easier solution to the problem.
Enforce the laws you have.
Exactly. Enforce what you have. Instead of opening up the Constitution to amending this and playing around with it, why don't you just do this? Hey, protect the border. Protect the border. And if you don't have illegals coming into the country, then they're not going to be here to have babies, and the citizenship issue isn't an issue at all.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you can't protect the border, put the guy in jail that's hiring them.
Yeah.
You know, how about that? Did you ever think of that? Put the guy in jail that is breaking the law by employing and
aiding
paying.
and abetting criminals, right?
Yeah.
I heard on the radio the other day that they Texas, I believe it was sending 83 National Guard troops to help
border.
shore up the border.
Yes.
Really? 83?
Yeah.
Not 72? That 83, there's the answer.
Well, that was their budget.
To save face is really what it really is.
Well, it's a Band-Aid for lip service to show that you're attempting to do something. The same thing with, the last 40 years of the drug war.
No.
There is no war. It's not a war at all. It's the DEA getting rich.
Which, and speaking of Mexico, I came across a good article that I wanted to share with you guys. You remember maybe about a month, maybe 2 months ago when the Mexican president came and stood at the White House side by side with Obama and said that they both said that 90% of U.S. guns or of Mexicans' guns are coming from the U.S. You remember that?
Yeah, but
and they put up a big fuss.
Yeah, nobody gave the true facts on it.
Right. Well, here's an article. It says U.S. not the main culprit in Mexican gun violence. George Mason University and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms said that only 17% of guns in Mexico are from the United States. During the violence south of the border, which has increasingly spilled over to the American side, the anti-gun mainstream media has consistently maintained that the violence was due to guns, evil American guns. Like most mainstream media stories about guns, the analysis is simple. Get rid of the guns, get rid of the violence. Of course, we know that hasn't worked out in D.C., Detroit, and Chicago.
Or Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The new weapon of choice in Philadelphia is a machete.
Yeah, so we'll just give them to the criminals. That's fine. This hurts not only the mainstream media memo, but also Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who's not the biggest defender of the Second Amendment. Really? The battle for Mexico's heart and soul has risen to the highest levels, not only in the country suffering from an explosive drug cartel battle, but Mexico's very existence is embroiled in a narco-state clash. A new paper out in the spring of 2010 from George Mason's School of Public Policy dispels this myth once and for all. According to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, only 17% of the guns recovered from Mexican authorities are traceable to the United States, a far cry from the 90% perpetuated by the mainstream media. It is worth pointing out that the Mexican government had photographing the drugs, money, weapons it seizes and releases them to the media. So only 17% of violence in Mexico is due to American guns. But you'll never hear that from CNN or MSNBC.
No, none of them.
You'll never.
In fact, I don't recall. It was online. I was reading an article, and I don't recall where it was from. So I'll just say this is my opinion and conjecture from what I remember of the article. What the Mexican government did not do when they reported the amount of guns that they attribute to the U.S., they did not differentiate that the majority of the automatic weapons, including, the M16s that they show with the 203 grenade launcher and everything on, what they don't attribute it to, the largest percentage of what they reported were from our DOD. Mm-hmm. That we sold to the Mexican police force, that the corrupt cops in turn sell to the drug lords. See, that's what the mainstream media doesn't tell. Why? Because the United States, the DOT, Department of Defense, does not want a black eye saying, yeah, we sold them to them, and they turn around and give them to the drug lords. That you don't see reported.
No, of course. Well, it's more anti-libtard, fear-mongering, regarding what the facts are. Again, these are arguments. This is not new, people. This is still the same old thing, rooted in fear and conjecture, just trying to spread their nonsense, really, about what the facts are. They're distorting the facts. So do your research. Don't just fall for anything that comes out of someone's mouth. And to stay, and I was offended as a U.S. citizen for the Mexican president to be standing at the White House side by side with the president, saying, basically blaming us and our rights for their problems, for all the guns coming into their country. Oh, we're responsible for, just as you said, the police corruption. And
it's our fault because they got crooked cops.
Right, the firearms getting into the drug cartel's hands. That's all America's. It's you know what, and it's the same thing. Just blame us for everything, and we'll still be there to help you.
It's human nature. You blame it on someone else. Whatever the problem is, you blame it on someone else. Take the light off yourself.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that's just human nature. It always goes. It doesn't have to be this. It can be anything.
Okay, so the cure for Mexico's problems is always letting the Mexicans come into our country. I mean, they have high unemployment rate. Just let them come in your country, America. We have bad politicians. We won't change anything. We'll come to your country. So basically, they're exporting all their problems. That's their cure for their problem. That Vicente Fox was the Hughes one, the first one. They actually stated that basically the problems with their Mexican problems basically be all solved if we just let them all immigrate.
Well, yeah, but you know, and I kind of equate it to I don't recall who said it, but like George Lopez. Now, he's a Mexican comedian. I like him. Right. He has some really funny stuff. He's proud of being a Mexican. Okay, hey, that's fine. Why don't you live there?
Yeah.
If Mexico is so great, why in the hell are people leaving?
Yeah, why are they coming here?
Just like all these Arab Muslims who are coming here and want us to, transform our society to be open and accepting of them.
And that's the thing.
It's so great. Why don't you stay home?
Yeah, if people are so proud of their heritage, why are you leaving?
Yeah.
That's what I've always said. Even when I was, knee-high to who cares? If you're so proud of your country, why'd you leave? And it's the same thing. I'm an American. I don't want to press one to speak English, damn it.
Exactly. You know, I'm proud to be an American. I lived in Canada for a lot of years. Family moved over there. I was young. I didn't have much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
So I saw the other side of the coin of, the socialist government and how it works. Or how it doesn't work, I should say. And I see that we're really headed in that direction. But one thing that I will give credit to Canadians on is they just kick them the hell out.
Yeah.
If they're not happy with the government, see ya.
Yeah.
And we don't have, we don't have the testicular fortitude to stand up to anybody and to the mainstream media and start, correcting some of these lies that they perpetuate.
Yeah, and I just watched one of my favorite movies called Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi, which Schwarzenegger is a Russian cop who come here to look
Good
for
movie.
a guy. Yeah, and when they're riding down the road, it's the scene I love the best when Belushi asks him, "How'd you deal with all the drug leaders or the problems and so on?" Schwarzenegger doesn't directly answer it, and he says, "Well, China cured that. They took all the drug dealers and the drug addicts, put them in the square, and shot them in the head." And Belushi says, "Well, that wouldn't go here. Our politicians wouldn't allow it." Schwarzenegger, without missing a beat, says, "Shoot them first."
And look at him now.
I love that scene, and that's to me the best scene in the whole movie. Politicians won't go for it. No, shoot them first.
Yeah.
And like I had talked
Not
about.
that we're condoning shooting politicians.
No. It's
just a movie line.
Yeah, it's just a movie line, but it's kind of based in a wishful fact that even I had brought up before.
The root of the problem.
Yeah, if you vote for a politician and he's running on X format, when he gets into office, if he doesn't follow that format, kick his ass out.
Right. If he doesn't follow this format, the Constitution.
Yeah, and just like now, you've got petitions apparently going in to try and get Mayor Walling, is that who it is in Flint? All right, to get him removed. Okay, I don't know anything about it because I don't follow it. To me, if you have to go through the whole recall, impeachment process, and all this kind of thing, it gains nothing. I mean, if you're in and you go in on a specific doctrine and you don't follow that doctrine, you're out of there.
Yeah.
I don't have to have 60,000 people sign a petition saying kick you out. It should be automatic. If you don't do it, get the hell out. Like to me, Obama.
Right, exactly.
When he was on his doctrine, he swore he would not touch Social Security or Medicare. Well, when they passed that silly-ass medical bill, Medicare got cut 20% in order to help pay for it. Sorry, that's a flat-ass lie he ran on.
Well, not the first and not the last by any stretch of the imagination.
Cut that he promised too.
What's that?
Where's that middle class tax cut he promised on the campaign trail? It's gone.
The only thing being cut is going to be the middle class. You're either going to be rich or you're going to be poor.
Yeah,
and that's
he's just
the middle will be eliminated.
Yeah, he's increasing the ever widening line of the have and have not.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wonder why crime, increases. Well, okay, I've never really been in that position, save one time in my life where I couldn't provide for my family. But when you get to that point, yeah, you're going to do what you have to. And that's what he's pushing everybody into. Michigan is really one of the hardest hit states in the United States as far as economy-wise. GM
absolutely. Unemployment rate's still at over 13%.
Right, and I blame it on GM.
Government motors?
Yeah, GM used and abused this state, got everything they could suck out of them, and then just up and left everybody hanging. I blame the state because they knew it was happening, and the politicians with really deep lined pockets from GM money let it happen.
And they're still building crap that no one wants to buy.
Here's
my thing, and I know typically we don't get into these types of discussions, but my beef with the whole bailout of GM is it's simple economics. If your company goes under, there's another competitor ready to pick up that market share, to occupy that market. If GM goes under, that leaves room for Ford, who doesn't take the money, to occupy that market share. You're going under because you're building stuff nobody wants.
That, and the government's not going to allow it to happen, even as I don't recall who it was that said it, because I really don't pay attention to a lot of the stuff that they say. But the amount of economical damage that would have been done between the time GM folded, the jobs lost, the revenue lost, and the time when someone else, as you say, would have picked up and made up that job loss would have been devastating to the economy, not only here in Michigan, but nationwide. I can kind of understand that. But you know what? Nobody bailed them out in the Depression, and they came back.
Right, yeah. Well, I found one thing pretty funny. And a buddy of mine who, God bless him, he's on the left side of a lot of issues. His dad is a union man and works for Ford. Well, President Obama came to Ford just recently and was giving them, the big pep speech and rally and the economy and the auto industry. And I sat back and I thought to myself, if I was a Ford employee, I'm already as a U.S. taxpayer upset, but as a Ford employee, I'm going to be pretty pissed because now you just took my money to bail out my competitor.
Yep.
That would be like the government stepping in and bailing out Circuit City with Best Buy employees' money. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people
you're keeping my competitors in business, and I'm paying you to do it.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people don't understand. Really, what a lot of their tax dollars go for. The government actually now owns some of GM.
Here, a friend worked this out. He was kind of a smart person, and I don't know if I'll tell his name because I don't know if he don't want to be associated. But he said he looked at the numbers they bailed GM out with, and he estimated that the way he crunched the numbers, if they would have just given everybody who is from 18 years old onward a check from the government, that check for the same amount would have been $80,000 per person from 18 years on, and that's kind of a large portion, like young children, of course, but then they're not usually effective consumers because what's a 5-year-old going to buy? But $80,000 in the hands of each American, that would have been stimulus. That would have been stimulus. Why give money to pay? And they're taking that money now and paying people millions of dollars for bonuses for running the company into the ground.
Just give me a car.
Yeah.
Walk onto a GM lot to say, just give me the keys to that one.
I would only accept that in one respect. I would run home and put it up on Craigslist and sell it.
Oh, sure. Well, that's what they're doing back to you. They're taking some ball with your money and selling it back to you.
Yeah.
Is every taxpayer now going to get a report from GM about stock, a quarterly report? Are we going to get it now?
Where's my
No.
Where's my refund when the money, if the money gets all paid back? Where's my check back to me for my investment into government motors? Maybe you don't get a whole vehicle. Just go down there and just say, just give me the tires. Just give me the tires. What? Well,
not gonna happen.
I paid for those. They're my tires. I just want what's coming to me.
You're gonna get a boot out the door. That's what's gonna be coming to you.
Yeah.
But
I was
just saying that this little side trip off into economics.
Yeah.
It
sorry,
may not be.
Sorry, everybody.
Well, it's not that it's 2A, but it's just that it's your rights really and your duty as an American, really to follow this stuff and start standing up and taking a voice. It's the same with the Tea Party movement. I mean, look how much that they've really advanced. They've really got a lot of people's attention going, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. Taxed enough already. And it's not going to get any better. And Obama's already shown his colors, in my opinion. He's lied about everything that he promised.
Wait, he's a one-term president.
Yeah, and he knew that. He made his biggest goal. He's in the world record books. First black president. That's all he was looking at. He could really give a shit less about this country. I truly believe that.
Well, speaking of dear leader, Chairman Obama, I found this article interesting. It says, Obama administration reverse course, forbids sale of 850,000 antique rifles. The article is a little bit lengthy, but it's a good one, so bear with me. The South Korean government, in an effort to raise money for its military, wants to sell nearly 1 million antique M1 rifles that were used by U.S. soldiers in the Korean War to gun collectors in America.
Which is a damn fine rifle, let me tell you.
I'd like to get my hands on one of those. But the Obama administration approved the sale of the American-made rifles last year, but it reversed course and banned the sale in March, a decision that went largely unnoticed at the time, but that is now sparking opposition from gun rights activists. The State Department spokesman said the administration's decision was based on concerns that the guns could fall into the wrong hands.
Oh my goodness.
Where have we heard that before?
Through the civilian marksmanship program, you have to show a lot of credentials to get them. CMV is a very good program.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my thing though is
CMP.
who's going to buy an antique M1 when they can get an AK for $200 on the street?
I don't know many gangbangers from Detroit looking to, man, I can't wait to get my hands on that M1. Oh, wait till I get that. Mike's not working, John.
I said they're a full-size rifle. They're not easy to conceal.
Right.
Well, no, it depends on if it's the M1 Garand or the M1 carbine. It doesn't specify.
It actually, sir, it does.
You didn't say that.
Actually, I'm getting to I'm getting to that.
Let's shut up, John. Let him say
The
what he
transfer of such a large number of weapons, do you want exact numbers? 87,310 M1 Garands and 770,160 M1 carbines could potentially be exploited by individuals seeking firearms for illicit purposes, the spokesman told FoxNews.com.
Oh, my goodness. Think of the children.
We are working closely with our Korean allies and the U.S. Army in exploring alternative options to dispose of these firearms. What a damn shame. Dispose of them. Gun control advocates praise the Obama administration for taking security seriously.
Oh, my God.
Guns that take high-capacity magazines are a threat to public safety, said Dennis Hennigan of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. Even though they are old, these guns can still deliver a great amount of firepower, so I think the Obama administration's concerns are well taken. But the gun right advocates point out that possessing M1 rifles is legal in the United States. M1s are semi-automatics, not machine guns, meaning the trigger has to be pulled every time a shot is fired. And anyone who would buy a gun from South Korea would have to go through the standard background check. Any guns that retail in the United States, of course, including these, can only be sold to someone who passes the National Instant Check System. Research director, said David Coppell, research director of the Independence Institute. There's no greater risk from these particular guns than there is from any other guns in the United States. M1 carbines can hold high-capacity ammunition clips that allow dozens of rounds to be fired before reloading. But Chris Cox, chief lobbyist of the NRA, noted that this is true about any guns in which ammunition magazines can be inserted, including most semi-automatics. Anything that accepts an external magazine could accept a larger capacity magazine, Cox said. But the average number of rounds fired in the commission of a crime is somewhere between 1 and 2. This issue shows just how little the administration understands about guns.
Well, they do, but they're playing on fear.
Just like your typical anti-libtard mentality.
But given the price of them, I would love to. I had, back in my young and stupid days when I used to deer hunt and so on, I have had both. I prefer the Garand over the carbine, though, only because it's 30-06. That's one hell of a rifle. You know, the carbine is a nice Michigan brush gun, but the 30-06 is better. And if think about it, the M1, the Garand, is really, that is the base format of the M14.
This article goes on to say, asked why the M1s pose a threat to the State Department, spokesman referred questions to the Bureau of ATF, and ATF representatives said that they would look into the question Monday afternoon, but on Wednesday they referred to the question to the DOJ spokesman, Dean Boyd, who referred questions back to the State Department. Typical government runaround.
Yeah, Bush.
According to the ATF guidebook on firearm importation, it would normally be legal to import the M1s because they are more than 50 years old, meaning they qualify as curios or relics. But because the guns were given to South Korea by the U.S. government, they fall under a special category that requires permission from the State Department before any sale. It seems to have implication of destruction, which would be tremendously wasteful. These are guns that should be in the hands of American citizens for marksmanship and safety training, and just, and because it's legal.
Yeah.
Forget all the other reasons. Asked whether melting down the guns would be a good option, Hennigan said, why let them into the country in the first place? If there is a legally sufficient way to keep them out, we think it's perfectly reasonable to do so. So they don't just want to, the antis don't just want to let them come in to be melted down. They don't want them in the first place.
Well, see, and my statement to that is, if they were such a bad thing, why then did Springfield Armory remanufacture to the original World War II specifications the M1 Garand? You can buy them brand new from Springfield Armory yet. You're looking at between $800 and $1,500, depending on, what different options you get with it or the type or so on. If they were that unpopular, why would Springfield still be in the process of manufacturing for sales? You can, in fact, right now, go out to my favorite place in the world to shop, Bear Sports Shop in St. Charles. They have one or two sitting on the shelf. So, and they're brand new. Yeah, they're brand new.
Good price?
Very.
Yeah.
I believe they were mid-8s.
Mid-8s.
840, 860, something like that. I didn't really pay attention that close because I wasn't going to buy one. Couldn't afford it. But it's their ideology. They're just playing, like you say, they're playing on fear.
It's flawed. Well, this isn't the first time this has been done. The Clinton administration blocked sales of M1s and other antiquated military weapons from the Philippines, Turkey, and Pakistan. It also ended the practice of reselling used guns owned by federal agencies, ordering that they be melted down instead. In contrast, 200,000 M1 rifles from South Korea were allowed to be sold in the U.S. under the Reagan administration in 1987. So we've already had 200,000 come in from Korea under Reagan. And what happened?
Nothing.
Exactly. But this time, it's going to be different. You wait and see, because it's 800,000.
There was 200,000 that a whole lot of people made money on, and a whole lot of people were happy to have one.
Yeah.
I would buy one if I could afford it.
I would too. In a heartbeat.
They're an excellent weapon. You have to get used to them, be experienced with them, or you will get bit.
Yeah.
Trust me.
A decision that would be okay. M1s are used for target practice for history buffs. They're highly collectible. We're going to continue to make sure that this backdoor effort that infringes not only on lawful commerce but on the Second Amendment is rectified. Hennigan disagrees. They clearly were used as military guns, and the fact that they can likely take high-capacity magazines makes them a special safety concern. And in true fashion, the White House referred questions on the issue to the Pentagon, which referred questions to the U.S. Embassy in South Korea, which deferred back to the State Department. Give me a break. Give me a break.
But see, they're wrong in the one respect. The only thing the M1 Garand could take was the 7-shot stripper clip. So that's not a magazine fed. That's most you can do. The M1 carbine took a magazine, but the most you could get on that one was a 30-round extended clip, and that was post-war.
But by the way, that was the chief complaint of the Garand. That's the only one I ever heard, is that the enemy could hear that ka-ching as if the spent clip would be flipped out of the not a magazine, out of the breech. So it goes spring, and they actually hear it and see it fly up. So they knew you're out of ammo. So that was the only criticism I ever heard about the M1 Garand.
And towards the end of the war, you know what they used to fight that?
What?
Our snipers started it. Well, not really snipers per se, but they would have a guy that would be looking out for a specific enemy position.
Right, the spotters.
Yeah, well, there'd be a group over here. He'd take an empty clip, and he would intentionally ting it off a rock. And when the guy raised his head, because figuring he's out of ammunition because of that sound,
right,
and nail him. So that's what our soldiers started doing when they were in a concealed position like that. They would take empty clips and bounce them off a rock or their helmet or whatever to get that ping sound, and when they raised up, then they'd nail them. So, yeah, that was one of the biggest complaints about it. That and the 7-round capacity, no one ever did really like. But like I was telling you, that was the basis for the M14 format.
Right.
And which is another excellent gun. I'd take one of them, too.
My dad had 2 of them in Korea. He had the Garand that they issued him, and then when he came into the unit, some guy was just leaving, and he passed my dad a carbine that he carried when he was on guard duty. He said the only thing is back then, though, and this is a complaint I heard later, that the carbines, it was a 30 caliber, but didn't have the powder behind it that the daddy one did, the Garand. And so it didn't have the penetration power. And a lot of they wore that quilted jackets in Korea. And a lot of times they'd stop the one coming from the carbine. Those would stop the carbine.
Yeah, because it's a slow 30 caliber. Like I said, it'd be a nice Michigan brush gun.
Right.
No different than your 30 caliber Winchester Model 94. They're comparable.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the 30-06 or the 308, like the M14. I mean, that's my 2 favorite calibers as far as that goes. But no. These guys here, they're playing strictly on fear-mongering.
Of course.
I don't know any gangbanger that's going to use an M1 carbine when they can get an AK.
Right.
I mean, it's just their ideology is just foolish.
Right.
They're just playing strictly on fear.
Yeah. I don't understand. The firearm can cause just as much damage if it holds
2 rounds,
5 rounds, right?
Or 50
if
rounds.
It holds 100 rounds, it just it's like we always say in the show. You don't try and make sense of it. You're just going to give yourself.
Yeah, you can't.
There's no logic. There's no.
I'll go out on a limb here. That's like trying to figure out what a woman's thinking. Yeah. Don't even bother wasting your time because you already lost.
Yeah.
Is that no, everything just be said by Jerry we disassociate with, but it's his opinion alone. We agree it's a secret.
Yeah. Just because Jerry says it doesn't mean it's going to work in court, right?
Yeah, there we go. See, that's why I put that. He specifically put that in there.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, I requested that before I would even do the first show.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to reiterate. I threw a little plug in for Bear Sports Shop there in St. Charles. It is, as I said, the only place I've bought any gun save one for the last over 20 years. They have a wide range of about any kind of sporting equipment you want. Guns, knives, bows. They have a nice indoor archery range. Give them a scan. They have a website. They've got their website up. Bears Sports, BARESSPORT at yahoo.com, I believe it was. Oh God, I hope I'm right.
You could probably just Google it as well.
Yeah.
Bear Sports, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah, just put Bear Sports.
What city is it in?
That's in St. Charles.
St. Charles.
That's just northwest of Chesney, M57. Okay. It's 7 miles north of 57, right in downtown St. Charles. Extremely nice people, and she's always throwing deals at me I can't refuse. And you'll know Sue. She's the owner. Nice, well, kind of short, blonde-haired lady, extremely nice. And I have friends that drive from Flint, and even one from Oakland County that goes out there. They save the money worth the drive, kind of thing.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't been there.
And if they don't have it, they can order it for you.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to come out.
Can they look into ordering one of these antique M1s for me?
I doubt that she would
but they
do
sell
that.
They sell the newer ones. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say she wouldn't do that when she could sell you a new one off the shelf. But and they do. They've got MP5s, AKs, SKS, Bushmasters. Like I said, they've got it, whatever you want. I was just up there yesterday, and even my older brother was looking at the 500 Smith hand cannon laying there drooling. But
I think the wife would kill me if I bought.
I couldn't pick that thing up. I mean, like we're saying, that's overkill. I mean, that's strictly a show me thing. That's not something you want for self-defense.
Yeah. Wait, hang on a second. I gotta lift it first.
Yeah, like I told him on the forum, yeah, you want to carry an AK for self-defense. That's fine. That's your right to do so. But I equate it. That's like going squirrel hunting with a 300 Winchester Magnum. Yeah, you can do it. Ain't too smart, but you can do it. What are you gonna do with a 500?
Keep it practical. I mean, for yourself to carry whatever you want. I have no issue with either way.
Well, I don't either.
But part of picking your firearm for your self-defense, of course, is making it practical for yourself to be able to efficiently and safely use it as well.
Yeah, 6.5 pounds. I mean, come on. I mean, that thing's got a 14.5-inch barrel and a scope on it. The cylinder probably weighs a pound in itself.
You have to hold it like a bazooka.
Or find a nice stiff tree.
All right, we got time for one. I want to get into this EPA thing with keeping the lead out of ammunition real quick.
That's going to hurt. If they go anywhere with that, that's going to hurt.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this is a pretty serious thing that I encourage everybody to get involved. Write your representatives and try and get the EPA to back off. Which, not to get into it too much, but just on a side note, the EPA is an unconstitutional organization that all of our tax-paying dollars are going towards. But that's for another show. But the print came out on this pretty small. I don't know why, but
basically what it is, the EPA wants to ban all lead ammunition.
Now, I heard one report, and I wouldn't say quote me on it, but this is only for Joe Public.
Yes.
This is not applying to
law
enforcement military.
It's only John Q.
So it's
Public.
okay for us, but not for you.
Again, it's putting the old us versus them.
The Environmental Protection Agency's recent rejection of a petition from the Center for Biological Diversity to ban lead bullets as an environmental hazard won't be the last time the issue challenges to the Second Amendment, according to civil rights activists. The recent petition would have banned lead from all bullets, shotgun pellets, and fishing weights. While the EPA responded negatively to the plan, it isn't going away, gun rights activists say. Gun Owners of America Communications Director Eric Pratt called the move a backdoor gun ban attempt. Well, I mean, that's pretty plain to see. They don't have enough support right now to get rid of the guns. They're working on it. So what are they going to do?
Get rid of the ammunition.
They're going to get rid of the ammunition, and they're going to make it sky high and outrageous for you to get. They're going to make it completely ineffective. And then they're going to do things like with South Korea. Don't let these guns back. Don't let Americans have these guns because the round capacity or whatever kind of foolish arguments they want to make. But these are the things that they're doing. This isn't just about ammunition. This is about chipping away at your Second Amendment rights and taking the guns out of law-abiding citizens' hands.
And that's just another step to show that we do not learn from our mistakes. What happened with Prohibition? They couldn't outlaw alcohol. All they did was create the mob. They created the crime wave. this will be the same exact thing. The same as the drug war. When you outlaw something, you're creating a black market. It's human nature. You tell somebody they can't have something, all of a sudden they set their goal in life to obtaining what they cannot have. Anytime you outlaw something, you're creating money for somebody else. And it will happen the same way with this. All they're going to do is attempt to price it out of range of John Q. Public, who's already broke. Mm-hmm. Like you say, they can't take our guns, so they're just going to price them out of the range. Okay, fine. I'll go buy it on the street.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the entire article here, even though it is pretty good. But basically, there have been plenty of studies that show that when it comes to game, that the lead exposure in your deer, say for rifle season, is not going to kill you. It is not anything that is at dangerous, crazy levels that needs Big Brother to step in and protect us all from. People have been doing this for centuries.
Yep.
And seem to be okay.
Well, even if you think about it, with the required steel shot for migratory birds, that wasn't done for our benefit. That was done for the benefit and the health of the birds.
Right.
For people that get a bad shot in.
Wounded birds, right.
Yeah, it's
so not dying of lead poisoning.
Right, and that was the only reason a steel shot was mandatory for migratory birds. They don't care about us. Again, this is the same thing. They don't care about us. They want to get a backdoor control legislation on our guns and the ammunition.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So you can't have lead. Then, of course, there's the armor-piercing ammunition. Okay? You can't have that. So what are we going to be able to use? You think ammunition prices? Yeah. You will have to now defend yourself with a paintball gun.
Little itty bitty got stones.
Which will have to be licensed.
Yeah, licensed paintball guns.
You must use neon-colored paint so that you can see the effect of your shot.
And you must paint the tip of your rifle bright red or hunter's orange.
Yes.
Yeah. You said rocks, yeah. Get yourself a slingshot. Slingshots are acceptable as long as they're registered.
And you have two hands.
Well, in Japan, you got to register knives.
Yeah,
and you're not even allowed to own a Japanese like a samurai sword. You're not allowed to actually have the sharpened blade. You got to have a dummy one that's made of non-sharpened material.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, and like I alluded to with Philadelphia, with the new gang weapon of choice being the machete. Reason being is that it really kind of takes their chances of conviction to another level because there's no firearm violation.
Right.
That's the reason with the choice of machete, because it doesn't put their conviction or their charges under felony firearms.
Well, criminals aren't they're not as stupid as everybody thinks.
Well,
they're smart.
No,
this is what they make their livelihood doing.
Yeah.
So they know just, and they pay attention just as much as we do. So they will continue to try and outsmart and find ways around this. But
yes, and they have many more avenues and availability of assets to defend themselves than we do.
Yeah. Well, just make sure that you again, carry your slingshot. Don't use any jagged edge rocks. They have to be all smooth stones.
Yes, and your rubbers cannot be strong enough really to put it past 800 feet a second.
Yeah, you had to bring up rubbers, didn't you?
Yeah, and
Brian's not here to make any jokes, so you go.
That's exactly why I brought it up, because I wasn't expecting any rebound from that. And of course, if you only have one arm, you are barred from using a slingshot. Unless you can lay down and use your toes.
And you can only defend yourselves on Tuesday nights between 8 and 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
If you're outside.
If you're outside.
If you're in your own home, you can.
And there's no one around you for 3,000 yards. Come on, people. This is
that's how ridiculous it is.
We're poking fun, but you know what? This is the path we're going down.
Yeah, and it is deadly serious. And as I say, thankfully to the Tea Party, they've gotten the attention of the American people. We see that by the amount of reactions that they're getting, and we attempt to do the same thing both on John's website and opencarry.org and other websites out there. You better wake up. You know, if you don't like guns, okay, fine. That's your choice. Don't condemn me or try and remove my right to defend myself.
Yeah. We have a couple minutes left. I briefly just wanted to touch on this. I don't know if you happen to catch any of the coverage, but I listened to Glenn Beck quite a bit, and I've read some of his books, and he had the 828 rally just passed.
Yep.
And I caught a little bit of it on C-SPAN, and I DVR some of the shows while I'm at work. But he had over approximately 500,000 attendees. No one in history has gotten this many people together.
Well, give or take.
In this spot, Obama's speeches were only about 100,000, and the mainstream media credited him with 87,000 people. I don't know where they got 87,000.
Well, as I say, there was an argument over actual attendance. They couldn't fight what he said, what he was doing, and the reasons for it, so they wanted to throw up and dispute how many people were there.
Right, and downplay the number of people there.
Right.
You see the aerial photographs. It's pretty easy to tell. But the point is that the mainstream media came out and they said that and shows like Chris Matthews and Keith Olbermann, and they painted this as a hate mongering, a racist event.
Take over Martin King's speech day.
Yeah, a disgrace to Martin Luther King, and this was a political rally, and this had nothing to do with politics. There was no politics mentioned, nothing about policies and legislation. This was about restoring faith, hope, charity, restoring honor in the country. And I read some of these articles that came out after, and I also watched it on C-SPAN, like I said, and the mainstream media painted this still, even though they knew that they were wrong. No violence happened, not one incident, not one arrest, mind you, in all these people, and they still painted this as a ridiculous event. And one of the articles went as far to have it said the actual title was "Ridiculous Images from the Rally." And they had a slideshow of pictures. A couple of the pictures that they showed were one, it was a father and son with an American flag. It said, remember September 11th. That was a ridiculous image to the Huffington Post, actually, was where you can find this. Another one was an elderly lady with an American flag handkerchief. And another one was a gentleman, and just by coincidence, by the way, happened to have a pocket constitution. That was ridiculous. But this is where the country has gone. We've fallen so far away from founding principles and rights and liberties and the republic that it's now ridiculous in mainstream media to be patriotic. It's ridiculous.
What's ridiculous is mainstream media, and there's nothing in truth that they have to be accountable for. They can lie all they want,
sure, and
they're never held accountable.
Sure. Well, that's what they do. That's what they're good at. Look, like I said, people, listen. The founding fathers, if they could see us, they'd be ashamed. They would be absolutely ashamed of where we are. Do not forget where you come from. This country was founded by quote-unquote gun nuts and religious nuts. Remember, read your history. Remember where you came from. Never, ever forget that. So anyway, that's...
Oh, I almost forgot to show off.
Oh,
you might not be able to see it.
Look at Jerry's shirt.
This is my new shirt.
What's that say?
It says, My Group Therapy. And it's a bullseye with about 6 or 7 bullet holes in it. This is going to be my new, shall we say,
new
logo.
Call sign?
Yeah, there you go.
Call sign. Yeah. Kind of like a Batman thing.
Yeah, in fact,
okay. All right, we got the signal. We got to wrap her up.
Oh, we got to tie it up.
Until next time, 2 weeks, Brian will be back with us, ladies.
Yep, on the 18th. Stop in and join us. All 3 of us will be here. We can bounce off back and forth. We appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks and have a whole lot more to talk about.
Absolutely. Check out flinttalkradio.com.
Go to johnroshek.com. Give that a... sign in and do his blog and kind of follow him along.
Thanks.
Join us next week at the...
2 weeks from now.
No.
Oh, next week.
Next week, Gander Mountain here in Flint.
Yep.
Come in and enjoy the
3 to
seminar.
5.
3 to 5. Thank you very much. In the meantime, stay informed.
Stay safe.
Stay armed. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.